Hey everyone, so today I'm going to be testing out a bunch of new drugstore makeup releases. I'm really excited because usually at the beginning of the year, a lot of drugstore brands end up coming out with new products, new collections, and last year, a lot of the very beginning launches of 2022 became absolute staples in my beauty routine. So I'm excited to try these out, even though they've only really been out for a few weeks. I feel like a lot of them are already super hyped up, so I'm excited to see if they're worth the hype. I have tried a few of these products and then some of them are brand new to me. I'm going to start with this one. It is the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer, but this one has 4% niacinamide in it. I love the original Power Grip Primer. It is my go-to staple. I think it does a great job at locking my makeup into place, but also leaving my skin feeling really hydrated and refreshed and just prepped for makeup. So I like to really work this product into the skin, so my face will probably get a little red. Do not be alarmed. I'm also dealing with a curling iron burn right here. I had a couple of breakouts during the holidays, so I'm going to go for kind of like a flawless base today. I did use this primer once just because I was curious to know if it was the same formula as the original. It feels the same on my skin, but because this one has niacinamide, it's going to work to help brighten up the skin, maybe kind of help to smooth over texture long term. Now, normally I'm not always sold on skincare in makeup products because I feel like if you really want the skincare benefits, you're usually just going to go in with the actual skincare product. But because I do use this base so often, like it really is my go-to primer, I feel like a little bit of skincare is nice to have. I did order the new NYX foundation. NYX actually came out with one. I think it's called like the Blurring Skin Tint maybe. It sounded really nice. I do want to test that out, but I am using a new primer. Well, I know it's kind of the same as the original one, but I just want to make sure a new concealer and a new powder. So because of that, I just want to make sure I'm not including too many new complexion products so I know what works and what doesn't. So I am using an older favorite, the Catrice True Skin. I know how this one performs. It's been my favorite for like 2 years at this point. So I'm just going to go in with this one and really create a nice, even, flawless base. I totally forgot to mix in a little bit of the e.l.f. Halo Glow. I've been mixing that with this foundation and I feel like it is perfect. This foundation is more on the matte side. I mean, I would say it has like a slightly satin finish, but mixing in the e.l.f. Halo Glow is so nice because it does sheer this foundation out just a little bit and adds the perfect glow. So I should have done that. That's okay. I might actually go for a little bit more of a matte look today. I am testing out a new powder and I haven't been wearing as much powder lately. I've mainly been focusing it on my T-zone, but because it is a new powder, I'm kind of curious to know how it locks the rest of my foundation into place. I don't know if I'm just imagining it, but I feel like my skin looks even more smooth than when I used the original Power Grip Primer. It feels the exact same, so I'm not thinking there is a difference between the two other than that added skincare benefit, but my skin looks so smooth. I do feel like my skin has been pretty good lately with the exception of my chin breaking out a little bit during the holiday season. I've been using some new skincare products and I feel like it's been extra smooth lately, which has been nice. I did order the new Makeup by Mario foundation. I wasn't going to because, you know, based on the description, I just wasn't sure that it was going to be great for my skin. But you guys, my skin has changed a lot over the past few months. Like I said, I am using some new skincare products that I feel like are making a difference. But I feel like my skin overall is just a lot more balanced, which is nice. So I feel like I have been able to get away with using more glowy products. So I did order the Makeup by Mario foundation. I used it once, but I didn't wear it all day. Okay, here's what the foundation looks like on top of the primer. Very, very smooth. Everything goes on so evenly. So I do think the new formula is pretty much identical to the older formula. It just has that added skincare benefit. So for concealer, I am trying out a new one. This is the Makeup Revolution IRL Filter Finish Soft Matte Concealer. I got the shade C6. I do really like the Makeup Revolution IRL foundation. That is one of my favorites. Does this look a little bit yellowy? It's a little bit lighter than I thought it was going to be. And this does have a little bit of a scent. The foundation does too. I feel like once I blend the product out, I can't smell it, but as you initially apply it, you'll definitely smell it. But anyway, I do love the foundation. I think it looks so good on the skin. It's very, very smoothing. So I was excited when I saw the concealer. I haven't really been wearing a ton of full coverage concealers lately, but the reason why I like the IRL Filter foundation is because it does have good coverage, but it's so lightweight and so smooth on the skin. And I feel like a lot of full coverage concealers just look a little bit cakey on the skin. Like I said, I've kind of been going for a lighter coverage concealer or just skipping it altogether. but I really wanted to try this one on days where I do want a full coverage option, and I wanted to see if it really was lightweight. Okay, so it blends out very, very easily. I do like this so far. It looks really smooth on the skin. I wouldn't say it has a super flat matte finish to it. I don't know that I would call it like a true satin finish. I would say maybe it's satin leaning matte, but I think it looks really good, really smooth. I am going to test out a new powder. I kind of feel like maybe I should use like my go-to powder on one side and then use this on the other side. That way if the concealer is creasing or the powder doesn't work well, I kind of know. So yeah, let me actually do that. My go-to powder right now for setting my under eyes and really the rest of my face is this one from Bakerie. It's the Flower Setting Powder. I have the shade Translucent. So I'm going to use this to set one side. I've been using it with a puff. Ooh, I got a little bit too much powder on there. I just like the way the puff sets the under eye. I feel like it makes everything look really, really smooth. And I just feel like you can get like right up under your eye with a puff. When I'm not using a puff, I always use a real, well not always, but recently I've been using a Real Techniques brush, or I use one of these. The Profusion Flat Setting Brush is also great for setting the under eye, or the Real Techniques setting brush. They're both great options. I also like both of these as highlight brushes too. Okay, so I used the Bakerie powder to set this side, but I am going to use this new Milani one to set the other side and the rest of my face. This is the Milani Conceal and Perfect Blur Out powder. And I'm just going to, dip the sponge right in there like this. And then I'm just going to, immediately I can tell that this is a, oh my gosh, I can already tell it's a super smoothing powder. But it's so lightweight. Like the second I put this on my skin, oh my gosh. Wow, I didn't even use a lot of powder because you saw that I initially got a little bit too much of the Bakerie powder. It looks so smooth on the skin. Okay, let me just take a little bit more. And I really like this applicator because I feel like you can get like the perfect amount. And I'm going to set right here. This area is like the true test because I do have a little bit more of like an obvious wrinkle forming right here. Just from when I'm talking throughout the day, I feel like my concealer as a whole can tend to crease there. I will say this powder, it looks a little orangey on my skin, like a little peach toned, which I feel like when I was looking at the powder in the container, it does look a little bit peachy, especially compared to the Bakerie one, which is pretty light. So I would say if you have a lighter skin tone than me, this is probably going to be maybe like slightly too dark for you, but I'm not sure what it would look like if you have a deeper skin tone. If you guys have tried this, you'll have to let me know. I do think because it's not like a completely like white translucent leaning powder, it might be better so you don't get a white cast or so it doesn't, give you flashback. But I can't say for sure. So if you guys have tried this powder, let me know what you think. But the actual texture is so nice. I'm just looking in the mirror. Like it definitely looks a little bit orangey on my skin. That's the only thing. So like I said, I've been focusing powder just mainly in the T-zone. Honestly, I don't really even touch my forehead yet because I am going to go in with some cheek products first. But wow, that powder looks so smooth on the skin. I'm honestly so shocked. I just feel like I'm used to powder looking kind of powdery. So that one has a really nice texture. Okay, we'll come back to powder for the rest of the face, but I am going to apply bronzer. So I do have the new e.l.f. Luminous Putty Bronzer. I actually picked up this shade. This one is in the color Summer Fridays, and then they did send me a couple. I thought I would swatch this one and see which one I want to go with. This one's in the shade Vacay Mood. Here's Summer Fridays, here's Vacay Mood. Let me swatch them next to each other. I love the e.l.f. Luminous Putty Blushes. I have been raving about those ever since they launched them. I like the original putty formulas, like both the bronzer and the blushes, but I like the Luminous Putty Blushes just a little bit better because they look really glowy on the skin. Here's what they look like swatched next to each other. I don't know, I kind of like the cooler toned one. Okay, let's go in with the cooler one. This is the Sigma F76 Chiseled Cheek Brush. This is my favorite bronzer brush. In fact, I think I'm actually going to buy another one because I also like to use it for blush too. Okay, I feel like this color is actually really good for my skin tone. It's a little bit more subtle. And the bronzer I've been using lately is from ColourPop, the Super Shock bronzer in the shade, what is it called? I think it's called Get Sandy. And I really like that one because it is, Okay, the foundation on the curling iron mark just completely came off. That is something I noticed a little bit with the putty blushes, the putty bronzers, especially lately because I used to set my face before applying cream products. Now I usually apply them directly on top of foundation. And I feel like when I'm using either the ColourPop Super Shock Cheeks or the e.l.f. putty blushes and bronzers, which are a little bit not dry, but more on the dry side compared to other cheek products like Makeup Revolution's bronzer, that they do tend to kind of pick up foundation a little bit. Okay, wow, this is definitely glowy. Like you can see it right here. It's more glowy on my cheek than it is when I swatch it, which is interesting. And I really like this color on the skin, again, more than I did when I initially swatched it. I feel like it just looks very natural. So let me apply it to the other side and then I'll kind of go back in and cover that spot up. I don't have a new blush to test out, so I think I'm just going to go in with this ColourPop Super Shock blush. I am going for a little bit more of a simple eyeshadow look. Let me use this blush. This one is in the shade Sounds Grape. So I'm just going to apply just a small amount because you know what? I can always go in with a little bit more, but I've really been loving the Super Shock blushes lately. I think they're so pretty on the skin. I've actually been wearing a lot of liquid blush lately, Profusion, Rare Beauty, but these are really nice too because they're somewhat similar to the e.l.f. putty blushes, but I feel like they're a little bit creamier. You don't have to layer them up quite as much, but I feel like they give a very similar effect to the skin. Okay, now I'm going to take a little bit more of that Milani powder and just very, very lightly set the rest of my face. And we will see how the makeup holds up throughout the day. This powder is so nice. It is so smoothing. And you guys, I still have not found a replacement for the Too Faced Peach Powder. I don't use it as much. Like I have maybe like one backup left in my collection and I have one open. I've just been using other powders because I've always, you know, been looking for a replacement for that in the back of my mind, but I still haven't found anything that I love quite as much. And I mean, it's been a long time since they discontinued it, although they kind of, it was being discontinued and then it wasn't. So, I mean, it's been a long time I've actually been looking for a replacement for it. So I feel like this could be the replacement. It's a little bit thinner than the Too Faced powder, which I feel like is more ideal. It doesn't smell like peaches, which I liked the peach scent, but I know not everyone did. But this leaves my skin looking so smooth, maybe even more so than the peach powder. So it could definitely be a winner. I will keep you posted. Before I do the eyes, I am going to do or apply a little bit of brow gel. I did repurchase the Uoma Beauty One and Done brow pencil slash brow gel in a different shade. So I got 06. I think I had 05, which does work well for me, but I feel like it's just slightly too light. Actually, is this a little bit too dark? I feel like it is. I do need to dye my hair. It's kind of lighter right now. I always dye my hair a little bit darker and then it fades after a few months. So I just bought hair dye. I am going to dye it probably tomorrow. So I feel like this would be the perfect match then. I'm just trying to be careful because this is not dried out at all. It's a brand new one. So I feel like the brow gel is very intense right now. Also, I've been using the GrandeBrow serum and it is working. My brows definitely look a little bit thicker. I feel like the actual brow hairs are longer. I don't know what's going on with them today. They do not look great today. So let me give that a minute to dry and then I'm going to go in and fix them. But I definitely think the GrandeBrow is working. I'm also using the Grande Lash. I don't think that is going as well. I just feel like my lashes are shorter than normal. Like when I wash my face, I see that I lose lashes, which is completely normal, but I don't feel like they're growing back in at a fast rate. They don't look long. They kind of look short. So I don't know. GrandeBrow, I love. Grande Lash, I'm not sold on, and it's expensive. So anyway, I'm just going to go in and touch up the brows first with the pencil and just kind of fill the bottom in, and then the front as well. Just a very small amount, just kind of soften things up a little bit. And then I'm just going to take the NYX brow pen and kind of fill in any sparse areas as well. Okay, my brows are a little bit intense today. I did not intend to go so intense, but I think maybe I should stick with the shade 05. Maybe 06 is just a little bit too dark, but again, once I dye my hair, I feel like maybe it will match a little bit better. I also think because this one is brand new, I mean, I've been using my other one for a few months at this point, and there's still product in there. So I think maybe I'm just not used to the fact that it's brand new, it's very wet, so I don't need to use as much, but they're a little bit more intense than I originally intended to go. for the eyes, I am testing out a new CoverGirl quad. I'm so excited about this, which I have not said in a long time when it comes to CoverGirl, because typically their eyeshadows just don't appeal to me, but they just came out with these new ones. These are the Clean Fresh Clean Color palettes. I actually grabbed two. I did grab one that was a lot more intense, like a burgundy quad, but it came shattered. So they sent it out again, Ulta, and then it was shattered again. So if you can pick these up in store, that's probably going to be a little bit more ideal. The shadows look very soft just based on that original one that I got. This one's in Dreamy Pink. The matte shadows feel very soft. This one, I don't know, like it's a little bit thicker. Once I blended it into the skin, it worked, but initially it did kind of skip when I was swatching it. So let's see, it's been a really long time since I've tried CoverGirl. I always want to say ColourPop. CoverGirl eyeshadow. Let me start with this pink shade right here. My very first eyeshadow quad, was it a quad or a trio? Whatever it was from ColourPop. Oh my gosh, I just said it. It was from CoverGirl. I think I was like 12 or 13. My mom took me to Walmart for the first time to buy makeup, and I got a blush, one of their powder blushes. I also got I want to say it was a quad, because I think I used like the same quad all through high school whenever I did wear eyeshadow. And then I also got a powder, like kind of like a powder foundation. I was surprised when I got this in the mail because it's pretty big. Like it's definitely substantial. I think I'm used to the e.l.f. bite-sized eyeshadow palettes, and then Hard Candy also came out with those smaller ones. So I think I was expecting like a really small mini quad. It was definitely more expensive than e.l.f. and Hard Candy. Both of those are under $5. This one was, I want to say like 12. This eyeshadow is going on nicely. I think that blended out really well. I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye and I'll be right back. Okay, that went on perfectly. It's not an overly pigmented formula. It's actually very, very soft, which I feel like is nice, but I mean, I feel like it still showed up on the eyes. I'm just going to go in with the brown shadow right here and just work that into the crease. I do think this could be like an ideal quad for everyday wear. Like I said, I do tend to go a little bit lighter and softer for everyday eyeshadow looks. I did purchase that deeper one, so I would like to try that out to see how intense the shadows can get, but I don't know that I'm going to ask them to send a replacement again, just because I feel like if it's going to keep breaking, that is obviously not ideal. I'll try to go into one of my local drugstores to see if they have these. Actually, I would like to go to the drugstore and kind of just browse the makeup aisles. I was running into the drugstore the one day, I can't remember for what, maybe I was going to the pharmacy or I was getting a card for someone, and I was just walking through the makeup aisle to get there, and it was just stocked so well. Sometimes if I'm shopping at like Target, not Ulta as much, but sometimes I feel like the aisles can look a little bit bare, and the drugstore was so stocked. I feel like I'm over blending. This was probably blended a few minutes ago. I'm just talking. So let me do the other eye. I feel like there could be some fallout with this shade. It feels a little bit heavier, maybe a little bit thicker than the first shimmer shadow in the palette. I wouldn't say it's the most seamless shimmer shadow I've ever tried, or the smoothest. I'm just going to go in with like that first light pink. Yeah, that one is super smooth. This one is very creamy. They're definitely two different formulas. They're not like the most intense shimmers. Even if I'm doing a more natural look, I usually do like a very like wet looking shimmer, but I feel like they're a little bit softer, so they could be good for everyday wear if that's what you prefer. So I feel like this palette is just missing kind of like a light matte highlight shade, which I normally just apply right here just to kind of bring some of that crease shade down. But you know what? I feel like this does look nice. You know, I'm filming a testing new makeup video, so I do think I went in a little bit more heavy-handed than I would day to day. Like I think for more of a simple look, I'd probably just take one of the matte shadows, blend it into the crease, and then one of the shimmers all over the lid. And it would create a little bit more of a subtle, soft look. I was just curious to know how these build. I'm just taking that brown on my lower lash line just to tie things together. I am going to be using two different mascaras. I have used the e.l.f. Lash and Roll a few times, so I'll share my thoughts on this. I also got the Milani highly rated Lash Extensions mascara. I love the highly rated Anti-Gravity so much. It's one of my top mascaras. So I'm kind of curious about this one. This one is a tubing mascara. So let's start with this one. Like I said, my natural lashes are not looking that great lately. It's not even lately. I just don't have really good natural lashes. They're so thin, so short, incredibly sparse, and I feel like sometimes they look better than others. But again, I feel like I'm just not having great luck with the Grande Lash lately. So I feel like when I test out mascara, like you're not going to see jaw-dropping results no matter what I'm testing out. Right now, my favorites are the Milani Highly Rated. I love that one so much. I feel like that one gives me volume and length, but I also really love the Tartelette Tubing Mascara, which I'm curious to see how the Milani one compares to that. And then also the Tower 28 mascara. Like I said, I have been using this e.l.f. mascara for, I guess, a few days at this point. I do feel like it comes close to the Tower 28 mascara, but I feel like the e.l.f. one definitely separates a little better, but you still get like that lift and curl that you get with the Tower 28 one. A lot of people are saying this e.l.f. mascara is actually supposed to be a dupe for Benefit's Roller Lash. I haven't tried that one. Benefit's not cruelty-free, so I can't compare them. I would say this is probably my favorite mascara e.l.f. has come out with. I do like Big Mood. There's another one that's great at lengthening, the Lash Beat mascara. I think that's what it's called. That one's good too, but I do like this one. I want to go in and use the Milani mascara on the other side. So I feel like I've heard really mixed opinions on this mascara. And okay, I'm not normally a big fan of tubing mascaras, I will say that, but recently I tried, I'm trying to do this without blocking my eye. Recently I tried the, wow, this is already making my lashes kind of long. I tried the Tartelette Tubing Mascara and I love that one. So I'm kind of curious to know how this one applies. This is a very wet formula. So it might be one of those mascaras that's a little bit better once it has the chance to dry out a little bit. Okay, this mascara is interesting. It's definitely making my lashes look long, but I feel like the wand isn't really working with the formula. I feel like it needs a wand, like more of a natural bristle wand, which I don't know if a lot of tubing mascaras have natural bristle wands. If this had slightly longer bristles, I feel like it would be better because I feel like it's just not grabbing all of my lashes super well. My lashes look long, but they are clumped together. I almost feel like they need to be separated. Let me grab a mascara wand and try to separate them. This is not looking good. Like if I was just normally doing my makeup and not testing something, I would go in with more of a separating mascara like the e.l.f. mascara to try to fix it. I think I'm going to do that. What a mess. This does not look good. I feel like it just applied way too much product. It's kind of clumping my lashes together. It's kind of like almost like a heavy sticky formula. Like my lashes feel and look kind of sticky and they're clumped together. I don't know, that looks really bad. I feel like maybe this is a mascara that needs to dry out, and after a few weeks, like it probably will end up working a little bit better, but I don't know, it's a very heavy formula. It doesn't look good on my eyes. So I am going to try it on the bottom lashes. I'm just going to take a very light nude eyeliner. This is from Too Faced. This is kind of what I've been doing lately. This one is in the shade Killer Cashmere. So I usually apply that, and then I also take this one. This one's from L.A.Girl in the shade Lullaby, and I apply this on top. I love this one because it is a metallic liner, but it's not quite as pigmented as the Too Faced one. So I've been applying the Too Faced one underneath. Okay, I am going to just apply mascara to my bottom lashes really quickly. Okay, it went on a little bit better on the lower lashes. I'm just taking a little bit of the light shade from the Covergirl palette for my inner corner. I guess I understand why it has such mixed reviews. I feel like if you have pretty good lashes, you might like it because it does do a good job at lengthening and you might not need as much mascara. But if you don't have great lashes like me, it's just not going to do much for you. I'm going to let it dry out a little bit and then I'll keep trying it out and give you an update after I've used it for a few weeks. But I definitely prefer the e.l.f. one. I think the e.l.f. one looks really good. It's definitely a nice alternative to Tower 28 if you're looking for a more affordable drugstore option. And I feel like it does give me lift and curl and separation. My lashes look a little bit more fluttery. The Milani one, I just don't like it. I think my camera cut out. I just applied a little bit of concealer to that freckle on my nose. And then for highlight, I'm just using the Flower Beauty Spotlight Liquid Highlighter. And I'm just taking this e.l.f. brush and just going to take a little bit on my cheeks. I'm just going to use this ColourPop Lippie pencil in the shade Oh Snap. This is kind of my go-to shade whenever I do want like a lighter pinky nude. And then I'm just going to take this CoverGirl Clean Fresh Yummy Gloss in the shade Acai You Later. This one has been my favorite. I've actually been wearing this one a lot. I love it on its own, but but also just over a lip liner too. But it adds just a hint of color, which is nice. And these are very thin glosses. I would say they almost feel more like a lip oil. I feel like they probably could have marketed them as lip oils. So I'm kind of surprised they went with the gloss, especially because lip oils are so trendy. But they are very glossy, very comfortable. There's a little bit of like a tingly feel to them. Nothing too intense like the Buxom glosses or the Too Faced lip injections, but if you don't like a plumping gloss formula, probably skip over these, but I really enjoy them. They smell so good. This one has like a very fruity scent to it. I also love the peach one. This one is pretty sheer on me. It almost looks like a clear. Okay, let me take these clips out. I'll be right back. Okay, it's been a minute, but I just realized I didn't actually come back and wrap everything up. I got distracted. So I wanted to share my, I guess, final thoughts, my wrap up, my first impression on some of these things. The base products that I used today are so good. I don't know. I think I like this better than the original one. I don't know that they are very different. I feel like maybe this one is slightly thinner and a little more hydrating. It made my skin like extra glowy. I feel like my foundation looks so smooth, and I do think it's a combination of this and the powder. This powder, it's definitely going to be my new go-to powder. It is so smoothing on the skin. It's been maybe like 2.5 hours since I applied my foundation, and it looks so good. It looks so smooth. I'm not really dealing with any creasing. I love it. So this powder is amazing. Very, very lightweight. I do think, again, it made my skin look slightly more peach toned. I wouldn't say it's like a true translucent powder, but again, that could be beneficial. Maybe there won't be any white cast or flashback. So if you guys have tried this, you'll have to let me know. But I love the texture of this. The concealer is also so good. Again, it looks really smooth. This combined with the powder really is the perfect combo. So I kind of want to use these separately and with other products to see how they perform. So I'll come back and give you an update, but the base products were definitely like the standout products of today's video. The putty bronzer is really nice. I think it gives my skin a natural glow, which is kind of different for me because I usually do reach for more of a matte bronzer formula unless I'm using a cream. So I like that this one is kind of like a cream to powder, and I could definitely see myself reaching for this a lot, especially when spring and summer roll back around. I don't like this Milani mascara. I was going to say I'm not sold on it. I just don't like it. I don't think these lashes look good. They look better than they did initially because I went in with the e.l.f. mascara to kind of fix them, but this on its own, not very good. I'm going to try to let it dry out. I'll keep using it. I don't mind it on the bottom lashes, but I just don't like it on the top lashes. And I just feel like it's too wet and the brush doesn't go with the formula. And it's expensive. It's like a $14 mascara. And I'd rather just pay like a little bit more to get the Tartelette tubing mascara, which works really, really well. I want to see how this performs. Like I need to keep using it on its own because I did go in and fix it with this e.l.f. mascara, which made it look a lot better, but obviously that's going to change how it removes. So I will keep testing it out, see if it's better once it dries out. I just don't think I like it. I think the formula is very wet. The brush doesn't do a great job at like adding a lot of volume. I don't like it. I do love this one though. The more I use it, the more I like it. When I initially tried it, I did really like it, but I almost like it better today. I feel like it did a really great job. So I'm excited about this one. This is probably my favorite e.l.f. mascara. The lip glosses are really good. I've been using these for a little while. The eyeshadow palette, I like how the look turned out in the end. I feel like it worked well, but again, I think it's like $14. Drugstore prices are getting more expensive, as is everything. So I feel like because drugstore prices are continuously getting higher and higher and closer to like a mid-range price, even some high-end brands, the quality has to get better too. So overall, it performed well, but I feel like it's just so expensive for a drugstore palette. Like it has to blow me away, and it didn't do that. But I still like it. I especially love like the inner corners. So I need to use this a little bit more, and then I'll come back and share my final thoughts, and maybe I'll pick up like a deeper one just to see how the darker shadows perform. But overall, a lot of really, really good products, especially the base products I'm excited about. I'll come back and do some updates for you in a few weeks once I've had the chance to try everything out, and I'll probably do like another testing new drugstore makeup video very soon so I can try out that NYX foundation and a couple of other launches. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know if you've tried these products and how they've worked out for you because I'm really curious. I would love to know. And I'll see you very soon with a new video. Bye.